That's that valve, that's for the hot water.
It's looking good, mate. So we've
And then
pump in. This is for the hot water coil, and then there's going to be one down there for the central heating to connect to that. Return's going to connect in with the return here, and obviously pick up the cylinder once we've got the cylinder in. Yeah, cooking on gas.
okay.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to my latest video, The Life of a Jobbing Plumber. Now, if everything's gone to plan and this goes out Sunday night, I will have just finished running the Rome Marathon and I will be in bits. My knees will be killing me. So well done, future PB. Hopefully I completed the run. Anyway, this week's video sponsored by Velocity Pro Gear Tool Bags and Tool Monster. Links to their sites in the description. Money to be saved at Tool Monster using my discount code. Couple of things to tell you. The van beeping has stopped. This here is the buzzer, the thing that makes the dinging noise to tell me that my dashboard is fucked. To tell me that my dashboard needs replacing. Tell me that my dashboard needs replacing. That tells me that my dashboard needs replacing. So two really nice guys who watch my YouTube videos came out, plugged the laptop into the van, confirmed that I do need a new instrument cluster. But while he was doing that, he just handed me this and said, there you go, mate. And that is literally, it's been so nice driving without that beep. I do need to get my instrument cluster swapped, but for now, that is just, it's been so good. So this week's video, it's a job I did with Marcus on the park in Nottingham. So hopefully enjoy it. It's a new heat only boiler, new cylinder, and then we alter the pipework on the system, low loss header, little bits like that. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. And just a couple of things to tell you. So Tradeify, who I use for their work management app to run my business, I've got a cracking offer on. It's like an end of a tax year offer. So if you click the link in the description and use tax year 23 as a discount code, you get 50% off Tradeify for 6 months. Now, Tradeify is cheap anyway. Well, I say cheap, it's such good value that you can have it for a month for the price that you would probably charge for like half an hour's labor. And the amount of time it's going to save you running your business, it's so worth it. But to get it for 50% off for 6 months, it's an absolute bargain. You can do a free trial. So if you've never used a work management app before and you don't know how you get on with it, if you're still using a paper diary, you can do the 14 free day trial anyway, see how you like it. But trust me, it's so good. Send quotes, invoices, you can run multiple members of staff on there. You can do gas certificates, you can do all sorts, link it to your account software, everything in one package. So check that out. As I say, links in the description. Okay, I'm going to shut up now, let you get on with the video. Just a quick one though, I am running for the Born Free Foundation, so if you want to sponsor me on the run I've just done, or any future runs, the link to my Just Giving page for the Born Free Foundation, Keep Wildlife in the Wild, is in the description. Any amount you can give, I'll be really grateful for. Thanks, guys. I thought I'd better just jump in here and show you. Check that baby out. Rome Marathon. Completed it, mate. If you want to hear about the marathon, how I got on, I'll put this at the end of the video. One thing I forgot to say in the intro when I recorded it because I was in a rush is this job that I did with Marcus. We at one point in this video you'll see we reused the old pump, and when we put the power on it blows the fuse, so everything just goes dead. And it's not surprising really because it was a 20-year-old pump, but because it was Marcus's job, when he said, oh, we're reusing the pump, I didn't really question it, but it's the exact thing that my dad would do. He would reuse an old pump like that rather than buy a new one. It must be a generational thing, because when Marcus went to fetch a new pump, I was thinking, it's a 20-year-old pump. She's not used the system for, like, I think at this point, she's not had hot water for 2 months. Of course it's going to be seized up, and why wouldn't you just swap it anyway? You know, you're swapping everything else, you're updating everything else, why not just bang a new pump on there? So, but it's one of those things like, you're looking at a job and you're thinking what you're going to do, and for whatever reason you think, yeah, I'm going to reuse that pump. We reused the bronze pump, but obviously they're made a little bit better, so I don't know. Anyway, you'll see in the video we reuse an old pump and it bites us in the arse, so we have to swap it anyway. But yeah, I'll talk to you about Rome at the end of the video. Cheers guys, enjoy. It's a beautiful but cold morning in February in sunny Nottinghamshire. Now you'll notice I'm on the ground floor of this, what do you call it, a gated community?
Yeah, it's gated community, it's like a preservation area.
Preservation area. So you see we're on this level, then we've got the next level and then another level. Now this is the house we're working in, 3 floors. And when we get to the top floor you'll see there's a back garden because the way it's built into the, I don't know, the hill, the mountain, whatever it's built in. So we've just been draining it down via this radiator on the ground floor, and we've got the hot water tap open to drain the tanks. There's quite a big tank, or a series of tanks in the loft because they've got power showers and stuff. We're going to be doing some 28mm today, so we've got the Hillmore bender out already.
Yeah, 28mm to be bending.
Speaking of benders, here's Marcus.
The biggest one of them all.
Oh, Marcus is down there. You can see we go up. We've got a little bit of, well, there's a wall there and a bit of, call it garden, but we go up again. But then we look at this, and here's the garden, which is really weird. And then above that is the next house. Okay, so on the top floor, this is what we're working with. We've got a floor standing Ideal Concord. Flues up and out of the roof. Hot water cylinder. Obviously we've got the pipes coming down from the tanks from gate power, so that's the rising main, that's isolated there. We're just draining everything else at the minute. You can hear the water running out of these pipes. Secondary return for the hot water pump, so that's pumping hot water circuit around the house. Looks like we've got a 2-port there for the radiators, so going down into the floor. And then there is a 2-port valve there, tucked away at the side. Great position for that behind the cylinder. So what we're doing, the job is this is coming out, this is coming out. We've got the timer here. Oh, that's the spur to bring on the pump, and then that is one for the immersion, but there isn't an immersion fitted. So I'm going to tidy all this up, replace this, wall mounted on the wall there. New cylinder in, low loss header, tidy the pipework up, and that's the job. So just basically took all the screws off the fronts of these so I can start checking what's got power and where the power's coming from. And then they've got the wiring centre here. Now this relay, if we follow this cable, this one here, the yellow there, this cable here I think is from the room stat, and the red here, that orange cable comes from the 2-port. And then the relay yellow that's in with the room stat is with the brown, which goes down to the central heating 2-port. What it was doing, I can't quite work out off the top of my head, but it's all going anyway.
It's not replaced against all with them. Safety warning, combustible material.
So Marcus is decommissioning the float, in the boiler behind me while I'm doing this. So followed these two back to the programmer. I'm just stripping this back now. So this one, the electrician swapped that. They didn't know what it did. Basically, it goes into this connector block. If you turn this on, this is live. It's got no earth, it's been cut, but the red and blue go down. The yellow from this cable is in that block with nothing into it. And they come down into here. So that's them two there. There's the yellow that's been cut.
Yeah,
The earth's connected, but that's where they finish. So when you turn that spur on, this becomes live, it does nothing. Now this bronze pump is connected onto this cable, which goes up to this switch. So whether there was something done at some point where they were going to use that cable for something and they just never did, or they changed it, I don't know, but that's basically, that's where that one finishes. So this can all come out now, we don't need it. That's the this cable here that goes up is from the room stat, so I'll get Marcus to check which one does which. That is just the cable that's been cut, so I don't know what that's doing. There's two there that are just been snipped, and we're getting there. So that's where the room stat was. We're going to bell these out now. What we mean is, like, I'll ask Marcus to touch, say, the red and the yellow together, and then I'll be in there with this on the red and the yellow, and if I get continuity, I can identify it as that cable. So we'll do that now. We're going to go for first.
red and yellow.
Red and yellow. I can do this with one hand, it'll be a miracle. Right, go on.
Ready?
Yep.
Yeah. Red and yellow.
Yeah, that's it.
That's on.
Yeah.
That's on.
There we go. That's it. That's what you do. Now we've got the cylinder out, we can see the pipe work behind it. So we've got, obviously, flow and return from the boiler through the pump, and then up here to the hot water cylinder. That was into the cylinder. Return from the cylinder back to the boiler. That's the bypass there, that gate valve. And then you've got the return back from the heating, joins in with the return from the hot water cylinder, flow to the rads. So that's simple enough. These ones here, that is our hot feed to the showers. That was a flange on the side of the cylinder. That's the hot outlet from the cylinder to all the hot taps. Obviously that's the vent. Then we've got the secondary return. That was from the bronze pump. So we've got a circuit going round to the hot taps, hot outlets. This one that's been capped off, we're not sure, but it looks like that connected onto there at some point. Your guess is as good as mine. Maybe it's got a vent on it. Maybe it was a radiator, like a warming for towels. I just don't know. Now most of these that go down, obviously that's our rising main. This 15 and 22 here is the vent and the cold feed to fill the heating system. They go along and then into the boiler there. There's the cold feed in, and that is the vent pipe there. And then the others we think are just separate cold feeds to the different bathrooms. So just being able to isolate them from bathrooms. Obviously this one was the main water going in. I did a little video on Instagram a minute ago. Because out of all of these valves, if you had to turn one off and it hold, which one would you turn? Definitely the Pegler. Because you just know when you turn this, they're just going to shut off. That one's shut at the minute. These ones, I mean, this one just spins and spins and spins, so that's doing nothing. But it's always the case, if you want a decent valve that you know is going to work in 20-30 years time, get yourself a Pegler. Just dotted around underneath pipes, we've found so much solder. So whoever did the soldering obviously is using so much. There's a proper weight behind that. That's what's one of the smaller ones I found. You can see it, it's all on there. It's all stuck to the floor. Right, talk us through it.
For drill bit.
Yeah.
So this is the new drill bit I've got. It's actually a hollow shaft. So
when you drill in, it sucks all the dirt down and through. And there's a hole down there, if you can see it.
Yeah.
That's where all the dust gets sucked to. So you put your hoover on. There we go.
These things are my favourite, so turn the hoover on. And then turn it off, let go. That's what it does. It's so cool. Obviously when you're coring, we're not going to get any dust in there.
And it proper sucks on as well, doesn't it?
There we go.
Wouldn't believe how it sucks on.
So that's the whole cord out. No dust. These things are awesome. I think the Bosch do one, Milwaukee do one. This one's by MaxVac. But if you core in from the inside and you look at the carpet, it's spotless. They're great. He likes to use this because it cost him 100 quid.
You know it.
So you rough up the thread basically. He's turned this.
Sorry, Pete.
It roughs the thread up. Obviously some come with them already done, but these don't. So it shows the difference between that and that.
Just helps the tape.
Helps a lot of tight tape. Give it a surface to fill all the little nodules now. So take that up, and then we're just making the head up now. So you've got flat faces, washes onto these, bit of paste, and then we're going to turn these adapters into there.
Like so.
Sun's strong, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
See if I can film it properly this time without it moving all over the shop. There you go. Waffenberger. Right, so what we're doing now, we're just drilling the clip rail on the wall. It's worked out the height of the boiler, so we've got the flow and return are going to come across. We also need to get the cold feed and vent in, and then we're going to try and space them out evenly, so these are all the same spaces, these 4 pipes. So we've got the 2 pipe centres there, which means the top of our rail is just going to be slightly higher than that. So we've got the 4 pipes coming along, then we've got the pump in, then the header, because the pump, this is a heat only boiler, the pump is going to circulate the water through the header like that. And then this side of the header, we're going to have the old system pump pumping around the system, but we're going to obviously get these all on the wall so we can nicely get the pipes across, suspend the header because that thing weighs a ton. How much is a bag of washers from Wilko's?
£2, I think that.
If you go in Wilko's, if you didn't know this, they have like DIY, you can pick whatever you want. So these washers, which are great for hanging the rail, just fill a bag up with as many as you can get in. It's like £2. That's a small one, they do obviously bigger ones. Wilko's. So we've got our channel on the wall. We've got 2 short bits because we're going to have 4 pipes coming from the boiler into the header, and then from the header We've obviously got to get onto the flow and return, and there's going to be stuff behind the cylinder. Just pipe work, no valves or anything. But we need the longer length for that. Now what I'm doing is, because we're coming off the boiler, straight off this pipe here, which is the return across. So what I'm going to do is get my level. Now you've got a magnetic stand. So you've got magnets there, and you can also hook it on and put on a tripod, everything. But basically I'm going to stick that onto there. And then if I turn the power on, line that up into that valve. So just move it down slightly into that elbow, sorry. Once I've worked out the centre of that elbow, I can then put my clips in line, so that'll keep that pipe level. And then the next one up is going to go into this on a T. And then we've got a tee up and also pick up the cold feed and vent. But the laser helps me to keep everything in line, keep the spacings right. Obviously it's going to be, the main distances are going to be for the header, but then we've got the pipes above it, try and keep them all evenly spaced rather than it just look shit basically. It's dead easy, dead simple. So there's my laser all the way through, right into the centre of that valve, you can see. And then just move this down. Something like that. Okay, so what we're doing is we've got a pump to go on here, which is going to line up centre of that, and then the low loss header is going in there. So we're just connecting the flow now, put our air bottle on the top, and then we've got to tee in our cold feed and vent 150 apart. So we've got enough room there to get the two T's in. They'll then come up and this way along. And what we, to keep it so the centres are all sort of equal and tight, so we're not going right up here. When we get to the header, the pipes are going to hit the top of it, so they're going to have to step over and back in, but it's only a 15 and 22, so I'm just going to bend those. That's all in and fixed, and then this header go on there like that. Okay, so that's where we are so far. Now what I said to you about this cold feed here, so if we pop that in there, just imagine that's going to run along, see it's the top of that. So I'm going to need to put a bend in this to get me around that, so that'll be my next job. And then I think the 22, just imagine, yeah, that will go over the top, so that's fine. So Marcus is just updating the gate valves. So show us the this one first.
I don't know what brand this says, but as you can see,
just spinning, not actually working.
These are all, I presume, the same age.
Yeah, whereas the Pegler one,
yep, still works like new.
Bloody good gear. So basically, these two both had water in, but only what's above the valve to the tanks above. These two are both empty, so that's them done. So I'm just going to put this new valve on now. Then we get the water back on. So because this is off, and we'll have all these off, we can turn this back on and then put these two back on, which we think of to the toilets. This one's to the bath and this one's to the shower. At least we'll be able to get the water back on in the house.
Put your own. What would be really good? Somebody invented an electric one of these.
The old boys just don't like using them. So what he's doing is cutting these two off because they're just dead legs for the vent up there, and just putting the vents lower down. We don't know what they're for. What was your guess?
I wondered if it was originally pipe work for maybe towel rails, so that the towel rails had their own circuit, but who knows.
So at the minute, I've just put that 15mm bent tip, other side of that, they're connecting, that's cold feed and vent. Replaced all those valves, water's back on now, refilling the toilets and stuff. So once we've done this, we're going to bring the cylinder up, offer it in and see where we can fit the pump and where we can run this pipe work this side of the header. Just offering the cylinder in now, so we've got the cold feed at the back there, filling the cylinder, teed off, so we can have a drain point at the front that's easy accessible if we need to drain this down to work on it. So just setting that up now, and then made room with 45s to bring the feed up behind there, straight into that.
Oh, that's for the hot water.
It's looking good, mate. So we've and then pump in. This is for the hot water coil, and then there's going to be one down there for the central heating to connect to that. Return's going to connect in with the return here, and obviously pick up the cylinder once we've got the cylinder in. Yeah, cooking on gas. Stop there. Get that right in there. Can hear his brain cogs whirring away. Josh is here today getting a lesson.
Because of that parasitic circulation.
Paralytic circulation, is that
Parasitic circulation.
Is that not what you cook with?
It's easy for you to say.
So basically, that obviously when the lukewarm, if you don't have like a constant fall on it, when it gets that lukewarm, it comes back
press
down
that bit there first,
and creates Legionella.
and then,
Right.
and then that should be level then. Have you ever heard of anything like that, Peter?
No.
In all the years of plumbing?
You've never heard of parasitic circulation? It's the apprentice
I've heard of
teaching the
I've heard
masters.
of getting paralytic. I've never heard of... Right, hang on, because you've just dropped that.
Just watching an episode of Laurel and Hardy. This.
Happy?
Yeah.
Tighten that up, it won't drop.
Just make it go for it.
That one?
Yep.
Oh, that's
it.
what do you mean?
So that's secondary circulation going in, bronze pumps on there. We've got the
Press that one up.
hot water drawer off at a 45 degree angle, and then we've teed off down. Now Marcus is going to explain this because it's very clever.
So, as the hot water bubbles up, the air obviously goes to the top of this pipe and it runs along the top. Doesn't allow any air to go down that way. All the bubbles will run along the top of the pipe and out.
Nice.
There you go.
Preventing parasitic circulation.
Josh has learnt a new word today. And he wants to use it in every sentence.
Can I teach you a new word, Josh?
No.
Get the kettle on. Here we go. Squeaky bum time. Let's put some water in it. Cylinder is nice and warm now. We've put the immersion on, so the lady's got some hot water because she's not had any hot water since Christmas. We're in February now. This is all piped up, ready to go. That's all connected. Just need to be wired up. And then when we've wired it up, and it all works, lag it. Which is the fun part. Not. I actually do quite enjoy lagging. What are you saying? All good?
I'll have a walk around, make sure I've not missed any rats. But count to 20 in, 20 out.
Status update, we're all full. Everything's full. And it's time to lag it. So Max is doing the wiring. We're getting set up, running some trunking along here. Got a timer for the secondary circulation, so we're going to wire the bronze pump. And then I'm doing the pipe lagging, which is looking rather good if I do say so myself. I've shown you this before, but that's what I'm using. Something that simple makes things look that good. It doesn't take long at all. What I've done, it's took me what, 10 minutes for that bit?
Yeah.
And we've got most of it done. It's all looking good so far. Let's use some cable ties on there because of the the bends just hold it in place. So just got the secondary return to do, hot water outlet, and then we're going to wire it up. Marcus got the clock in for the bronze pump. The rest of the electric's coming tomorrow, so we'll do that tomorrow. Wiring centre probably going to put somewhere here. Obviously got to get a feed to the boiler, pick up zone valves, pumps, cylinder stat. This is how clever Josh is. So the lagging was downstairs. I asked him to fetch me one length for 28, one length for 22, because all I've got left to do is that one pipe and a tiny bit on this pipe, and then the whole job's done. He's just said, I brought it all up, and then we can take it all down at the end of the job. So now you just brought it all up for nothing.
Saves us work. If we need any more, we've got it now.
What we're going to need any more for? That's the last pipe.
What about if you want to do these bits?
You're an idiot. Okay, so we've lagged everything. That's all done, looking good. So Marcus has kindly put the wiring centre on the wall for me, ready to wire up, and he's connected the condense pump, which has gone all the way underneath the kitchen units and then connected in with the waste and the sink. Was that a nice easy job for you this morning?
About 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
Took the plinth off, kick space.
Goes in, just teed it in, just this up's done, just here. Just dob straight in, just behind there.
Cool. So that's done. And then the condense pump wiring, just quickly talk us through that.
I have neutral earth as normal that wire into the plug of the boiler, and then it's got a switch here that connects onto the board. So if the pump fails, or let's say it blocks or freezes, which it shouldn't freeze, but it turns the burner off, so the burner will stop running, but the boiler will still stay alive, so things like the pump will run and everything else.
Yeah.
It's obviously just a bit of an anti-freeze measure. So there we go.
Cool. So now I'm going to get in here, I'm going to wire up all the components, which is, in my opinion, the fun part of the job. So obviously we've got the zone valves to get into there, this pump, the boiler, and then all of it will come along behind the cylinder. Some nice trunking it up. This is going to be the main fuse spare. We're going to have a time clock for the central heating system. I've got a room stat. This is the cable for the room stat. This timer here is just for the secondary circulation pump. That's the spare for that. This is the spare for the immersion heater, which is on at the minute. This was the spare for the immersion. That's just blanked off now. So yeah, just tidied up a little bit. Okay, so we've got our trunking in all the way around to the wiring centre. The room stats linked through, just check those, that goes all the way to the wiring centre. Then we've got the programmer. That's the time clock for the secondary circulation pump, which is currently on and running. So I'm going to sit down now. It's all nicely tidy, ready for me. So I've got all my cables here, 5 core to the boiler, I've got the 5 core from the room stat, programmer cable, cylinder stat, pumps wired in directly to the boiler already. If you didn't know, on these plugs you can change the orientation because they'll come looking this way. So I've just made that look down, which is nice and neat. And then I've got the 2 zone valves in, which we've labelled up. The only thing I forgot to put is the wiring from this pump, so I'll do that next. But then I'm pretty much ready to just sit in this box and connect all these together, which is the fun part. So inside your wiring sensor, we've got 1 to 16, and then neutral and earth block here. And then on the underside of the lid, you'll get a wiring diagram. So if you're doing a 2-port zone valve system, we're going to add these additional links. We're going to link 2 and 4, 7, 11, 8 and 14, and we're going to follow this. So for example, the orange for heating and hot water valve will go into number 6. The grey from the heating and hot water zone valve is in 7. The brown from the hot water valve in 8. Heating on from the programmer in 9, hot water from the programmer into 10. Just follow the diagram, it's that easy. So I'm going to do that now with all these. Okay, so that's that wired up. Now, just one thing, if you've never done one of these before, you see you've got the, you're listed where you can put the connections. So for example, we've got the cylinder stat common and the cool for heat into 14 and 15, but the brown from the hot water valve goes into number 8. Well, really you would think that number 8 would go in with the coil. The brown, sorry, the hot water brown would go in with the coil from the cylinder stat. Say put them both in number 8, which you could do, but if you follow this diagram, you can see there 8 and 14 is what we put one of the links in. So in effect, we are putting them in both into number 8, but to space it out, we're linking them together. So then when you come to fault find, rather than have 2 cables in the same one, you can see that 8 is going for the brown from the 2-port, and 14 is going to the cylinder stat easily, and they're just linked together at the top. So you see 14 there, that's our from the cylinder stat, the coil, and then 8 is our brown to the 2-port. They could go in together, but they don't. They go in separate, and then the link comes out the top and goes into number 8, if that makes sense. Just makes it a bit easier, because sometimes when you open these up, if they're all joining in together, you never know which cable comes from where. So it just makes it a bit easier if you follow the diagram. Okay, moment of truth. So boys, off at the minute. 3 amp fuse going in, power on, bang.
Oh, we got another faulty. We're using them fuses, aren't we? These why we was there originally.
Take 2 with a proper fuse. Bang.
Take 2.
Okay. We've got some power. So what we should get, we've got nothing calling from the programmer or the room stat or the cylinder stat. So hopefully we shouldn't have anything calling from here. Okay, now what I'll do is just check. So that's off, so put that to, let's play it on 60. We still shouldn't get a demand. What are you pressing up there? You're not putting it in the time?
Yeah.
Right, why is that firing?
Is it firing or is it going through?
It's trying to, I can hear it. It's fired.
It's the what's
Bit of real life for you. One mistake everyone always makes on a heat only. Got to put the 24 volt link out.
Turn power up. Really?
Okay, just to explain that, if you didn't know, so we've put the power on, we've got no demand, so this isn't open, this isn't open, this isn't calling, the cylinder starts, room start's not calling, the programmer's not calling, but the boiler fired up. And that's because we had a link in the 24 volt side of the board, which means it would constantly be on, basically firing, even though we've got no demand. I've done that so many times. I blame Marcus for that one. So now power's back on, and we shouldn't have any demand. So you see now we've not got the radiator symbol that was there, which means we've not got a demand. So nothing will be, the boiler won't be trying to fire, nothing will be running. So now we're happy, it's wired okay. I'm going to put it into purge mode and just get the air out of that. So that's going to basically circulate this pump only and the boiler, get the air out. Once we're happy purge is done, what is it, 7 minutes?
Yeah.
Then we'll start testing, bringing on the heating, hot water, making sure everything works okay. So just to explain that for anyone who doesn't know, obviously we've got the water and heat exchange of the boiler, and that is going to now be pumped through this half of the low loss header and then back to the boiler, and it's just going to get the air out of that circuit basically, but there isn't going to be any because we've got an air bottle there and also air there.
Just do a little bit.
You can hear a little bit coming out. So when that's done that and we're happy, there's no air in it, then we can test it, because what you don't want to do is, especially on a new install, fire a boiler up when you've got air in the heat exchanger, because it can ruin it. So get Got 7 minutes for a cup of tea. We've not had one today, have we? Right, so as with any job teething issues, and you think, oh, maybe it's the way I've wired it, but what happened was we set the, asked for the hot water, zone valve opened, waiting for the boiler to kick in. As soon as the zone valve opened and put the live onto the orange, which is linked in with the live to this pump, the power tripped. So we've reused the old pump there, tripping the power, so we've got to fetch a new pump now. So Mark's just going to just sort that out now, and then we'll be back testing. Okay, I took that one out.
It's literally 5 minutes away.
Here's the new one. He had a bit of a game getting this. Tell us the story.
One of the Wolsleys isn't a Wolseley anymore as such. It just sells refrigeration stuff and pipes.
Handy.
So the next one he said go to is actually closed down because they've moved it to a branch that's literally 10 minutes up the road.
I've got this.
Spin the head.
While you're gone, I was just saying to Josh, why didn't you just swap this in the first place? Why did you want to reuse
Because it was all working.
a 20-year-old pump? That's the kind of thing my dad would do, by the way. He would reuse that. So get this fitted, and then we'll turn it back on. Okay, new pump in, power back on. So we're waiting for. So we've got central on hot water on, but none of the valves should open because none of the stats are calling.
No.
Shut, central shut.
No.
Yeah?
Yeah. Shut. So turn that up.
As soon as that up, this one should then open.
Yep.
New pump should kick into life. There we go. And boiler should fire. Just heard it.
Pump's on, so it must be doing something.
There we go.
Oh.
Just to touch the button. Yeah, button's fired. Right, do you want to turn the hot water off and I'll put the heating on?
Can they?
So that's shut. Boiler's gone off.
Boiler's gone
I'll
off.
pass you the.
But it keeps that pump running, don't it?
I'll pass you that screen so you use that up.
Yeah, that's opening. That's when we're going to get some mega air out of it. Comes on.
Success.
Yeah.
So we've got the heating and hot water on now. Both the zone valves are open. Pump is pumping the heat from the header around the system, and the boiler is happily just providing that header with the heat. So the boiler can run comfortably, high, low, whatever it needs to do to satisfy its flow and return differential through the header. So the boiler's happy and the system can do what it wants because it's controlled by these controls here. So decent little setup. Kept the system on open vent, so not pressurised any of the pipe work, which in an old building can be a problem. And obviously we've got that massive Concord boiler, so the gas bills will be reduced, more efficient, probably quieter. Obviously the cover's off in a minute so you can hear it, but that's the job really. Oh, by the way, we found out what these do. These two upstands, absolutely nothing. When we reconnected the hot water secondary return, no water in them. When we turned the hot water on, no water in them. When we turned the heating on, as in filled it up, no water in them, so they're dead. But we've left those air bottles on anyway. Sitting out. Josh is going to commission the system because he needs to do that for his gas portfolio. So him and Marcus are going to start doing that now, and I'll get some kit packed away and have my 20th cup of tea. So obviously a boiler like this is looking at, it's got a flow thermistor and a return thermistor, so it's looking for the differential temperature between the two, which ideally on a high efficiency boiler is 20 degrees. Standard efficiency is 10. So on Availum we can go into the D menu, diagnostics menu, and choose, I think it's 40 and 40, what is it? 39 and 40?
40 is the flow.
Yeah, so the flow temperature is
41, so the flow temperature is 48 degrees.
48.
And the return temperature is 32.
32, so 16. No, sorry. So what did it say? 48.
48 and 31.
48 and 31. So 17 degree difference between the flow and return. So obviously that's the system's going to be taking heat in a minute, so when that all settles down, it should balance itself off nicely at around 20 degrees. So when your temperature's reached, red neon goes out. Easy to use, especially for an elderly customer, because if they call and say they've got no heat, and you can say, look at your room stat, is the green light on, is the red light on, and then you can tell them what to do. Okay, so the Rome Marathon, I absolutely loved it when it was over. Now, I don't know if you know anything about marathons, but you need to do like a training program, especially if you've never ran one before, and it'll normally be about 16 to 18 weeks. 16 to 18 weeks, you'll start off low mileage, and it will get more and more and more. For example, you'll do like 4 runs a week. You'll do a 3 mile run, a 4 mile run, a 4 mile run, and then at the weekend you'll do, let's say, an 8 mile run. The next week it'll be 3 miles, 4 miles, 4 miles, 10 miles. Then it'll be 4 miles, 6 miles, 6 miles, 12 miles. And it just keeps getting more and more until you're getting up to like 50 miles a week. And that's to give you time on your legs, so that when you've done the marathon, when you've finished, your legs don't think, what the fuck have I just done? And everything just hurts and you injure yourself. So I did 3 last year, and I did the 16-week training program for them, and I got on great. But then since Christmas, I've had a bad knee. So I've not done any training for the Rome Marathon, apart from a park run on a Saturday. And I think I did 2 10Ks, which is 6 miles, and 1 7 mile run. So that's all I did. So I was really nervous. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I knew I was going to have to run slow, but my main goal was to not get injured, because believe it or not, I've got another marathon next weekend, which is the Paris Marathon. I booked both of these after I finished Amsterdam, because I was on a high. I was like, yes, I love it, I want to do another marathon, and I booked them both. So, but I got on all right. I did it in just under 5 hours, so I was almost an hour slower than my previous attempts. But the main thing is I've come away uninjured, and I'm more confident that I can go Paris now and run faster and just be okay. So that's good. As far as like, if you want to get into a marathon, I can't explain it, but I love them. It's a great way of seeing the world. So what I'll do is I'll book myself an Airbnb. The location for the Rome one was great. I was right near the Colosseum, which is where the start line was. So from my apartment, it was a 5-minute walk to the start line, and also a 5-minute walk to the finish, from the finish, which means when I finished the race, I was straight back to my apartment in a cold shower, getting my legs hopefully to start recovering. Got a protein shake down me. It was great. But yeah, fly out on the Friday. Saturday morning, you wake up in a different country, you go and do their local park run, so you experience that. Then you find your way to the Expo Village. There's like a running show on, so you can get your race number, your t-shirt. There's all kinds of stuff for sale there, limited edition. Like I got some Rome Marathon socks. When I was in Amsterdam, I got some socks there. They have limited edition trainers, stuff like that. It's just a great atmosphere. Everyone's there to run, everyone's in a great mood. Your name's on the wall. I always film finding my name on the wall. Everyone's name who's taking part is on there. and I just love it. And then you go and do a bit of touristy stuff, and then you get an early night Saturday night after you've smashed some carbs, up early on the Sunday, run your race, and then you've got the rest of the day Sunday to do some more exploring, keep your legs moving, and then normally fly back on the Monday. And it's just like a great little adventure I go on. So I'm doing Paris next week, really looking forward to that. And then I've not got any more booked after that, but I am looking at doing Athens Marathon, which is the original marathon, in November. I quite fancy the idea of doing Copenhagen Marathon in Denmark, Budapest Marathon in Hungary. But what I'm going to put out there is, if anyone wants to do a marathon with me and wants to go on a little adventure, drop me a DM on Instagram, because what I might do for the Athens Marathon in November, which will give you plenty of time to train, and maybe give yourself something to focus for, I want to get a group of guys together to go over and do that. So if you want to be part of that, if you need a bit of motivation to get fit, or if you just want to go on an adventure, or if it's been your, one of your goals, bucket list is to do a marathon, and you want to do it with me, just drop me a message on Instagram and we'll sort it out. That's it. So hopefully you enjoyed this week's video. I will try and get one out next weekend, although I am doing a marathon, so possibly will be the weekend after, but I will do my best. And yeah, cheers guys, as always. See you on the next one.